Welcome back to Xcoins Hub, where ordinary pocket change becomes extraordinary treasure. Today, I'm about to reveal a secret that could change the way you look at every quarter that passes through your hands. Picture this moment. You're at the grocery store, fumbling through your change, when your fingers touch what feels like just another quarter from 2013. You barely glance at it before tossing it into your pocket, completely unaware that you might be holding a piece of American history that collectors are desperately seeking. The 2013 Perry's Victory and International Peace Memorial Quarter isn't just another coin in the America the Beautiful series. This quarter commemorates one of the most decisive naval victories in American history, fought on the waters of Lake Erie during the War of 1812. But here's where the story becomes absolutely fascinating. While the United States Mint produced over 239 million of these quarters, making them seem common and worthless, hidden among these millions are specimens that possess characteristics so rare, so extraordinary, that they've caught the attention of serious collectors worldwide. Let me transport you back to September 10th, 1813. Commodore Oliver Hazard Perry stood on the deck of his flagship, the USS Lawrence, as British cannons thundered across Lake Erie. The battle seemed lost, his ship was destroyed, but Perry refused to surrender. In an act of incredible bravery, he transferred his command to the USS Niagara and continued fighting until victory was his. Perry's famous message to General William Henry Harrison became legend. "We have met the enemy, and they are ours." This triumph secured American control of Lake Erie and marked a turning point in the War of 1812. 2 centuries later, the United States Mint chose to honor this pivotal moment with the Perry's Victory Quarter, featuring Perry's Peace Memorial standing tall on South Base Island in Lake Erie, Ohio. The design captures the monument's commanding presence, with its Doric column rising 352 feet into the sky, visible for miles across the lake where history was made. But what makes certain 2013 Perry's Victory Quarters so special isn't just their historical significance. It's what went wrong during the minting process. The minting facilities in Philadelphia and Denver were running at full capacity in 2013, striking millions of these quarters with mechanical precision. But machines are never perfect, and when tiny imperfections occur during the striking process, magic happens for collectors. We're talking about double dies, where the design elements appear twice, creating a shadow effect that transforms an ordinary quarter into something extraordinary. These doubling errors occur when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly between impressions, creating duplicate images in the metal. Some 2013 Perry's Victory Quarters exhibit doubling on Perry's monument itself, making the structure appear to have ghostly duplicate features. Others show doubling in the lettering, where Perry's Victory, or Ohio, appears with dramatic shadowing effects. The most sought-after examples display doubling across multiple elements, creating quarters that look almost three-dimensional to the naked eye. But double dies aren't the only errors that make these quarters valuable. Off-center strikes occur when the coin blank isn't properly aligned in the striking chamber, resulting in quarters where the design is dramatically shifted, sometimes showing only half the monument with a crescent of blank metal on one side. These dramatic errors are impossible to miss and immediately recognizable as something special. Then there are the die cracks, where the steel dies used to strike the coins develop hairline fractures from the enormous pressure of repeated impacts. These cracks transfer to the coins as raised lines across the surface, sometimes creating patterns that look like lightning bolts across Perry's Memorial or through the surrounding landscape. The grading process reveals the true treasure hidden within these quarters. While most 2013 Perry's Victory Quarters in average circulated condition are worth only face value, specimens that avoided circulation and maintained their original mint luster tell a different story entirely. In MS-63 condition, these quarters command premiums above their face value. MS-64 and MS-65 examples become increasingly scarce, and when you reach MS-66 or higher grades, you're entering territory where serious collectors compete aggressively. The most extraordinary examples combine multiple factors: perfect preservation, dramatic errors, and provenance from important collections. These quarters have appeared at major auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers, where collectors bid with the intensity of treasure hunters who discovered buried gold. Authentication becomes crucial with valuable quarters like these. Professional grading services like PeaceGS and NGC examine every microscopic detail, verifying the authenticity of errors and assigning precise grades that determine market value. Their holders protect these treasures while providing certified documentation that serious collectors demand. The emotional appeal of owning a piece of American naval history cannot be understated. When you hold a 2013 Perry's Victory Quarter, especially one with dramatic minting errors, you're connecting with a moment when American courage and determination changed the course of history. Perry's Victory didn't just win a battle. It secured American independence on the Great Lakes and proved that the young United States Navy could stand toe-to-toe with the mighty British fleet. So the next time you encounter a 2013 quarter, don't just glance and pass it by. Examine it carefully under good light. Look for doubling in the memorial structure. Check the lettering for shadow effects. Search for off-center strikes or die cracks. That seemingly ordinary quarter might be your ticket to joining the ranks of collectors who understand that true treasure often hides in the most unexpected places. Remember, fortune favors the prepared mind, and now your mind is prepared to recognize the extraordinary hiding among the ordinary. Keep hunting, keep searching, and keep that magnifying glass handy, because you never know when history and minting errors will combine to create your next great discovery. This is Xcoins Hub, where every coin tells a story, and some stories are worth more than you ever imagined. In the year 1996, Bill Clinton was serving his first term as president. The internet was just beginning to transform our world, and the Olympic Games were coming to Atlanta. In the midst of this pivotal year in American history, the United States Mint was working overtime at the Philadelphia facility, striking millions upon millions of Washington quarters to meet the nation's demand for circulating coinage. But within that massive production run, something extraordinary was happening that would create some of the most sought-after error coins in modern numismatics. The 1996 P. Washington quarter represents more than just another year in the long-running series that began in 1932. These quarters were struck during a period when the mint was transitioning between different die manufacturing techniques, creating opportunities for errors that collectors today prize above gold. The Philadelphia Mint alone produced over 925 million quarters that year, but hidden among those nearly billion coins are specimens that possess characteristics so rare and valuable that they've stunned even the most experienced collectors. Let me tell you about the most famous and valuable variety of the 1996 P. Washington quarter. An error so subtle that most people would never notice it, yet so significant that it has created a treasure hunting phenomenon among collectors. Behind George Washington's ear, in an area where most people would never think to look, lies the key to potential fortune. Some 1996 P quarters exhibit dramatic double die characteristics in this precise location, where the intricate details of Washington's hair and the surrounding design elements appear with ghostly duplicate images. This doubling behind the ear isn't just any ordinary minting variation. It represents a specific type of die error that occurs when a master die used to create the working dies shifts slightly during the hubbing process. The result is a coin where certain design elements, particularly the fine details behind Washington's earlobe, show clear evidence of multiple impressions. Under magnification, these quarters reveal doubled lines, shadowed features, and duplicate design elements that transform an ordinary portrait into something that looks almost three-dimensional. But the ear doubling is just the beginning of what makes 1996 P quarters so fascinating to error coin enthusiasts. The minting process that year was plagued with various mechanical issues that created a treasure trove of different error types. Off-center strikes occurred when coin blanks weren't properly positioned in the striking chamber, resulting in quarters where Washington's portrait appears dramatically shifted, sometimes showing only half of his profile with a distinctive crescent of unstruck metal on one side. Die damage errors add another layer of collectible appeal to 1996 P quarters. The enormous pressure required to strike millions of coins takes its toll on the steel dies, causing them to develop cracks, chips, and other forms of damage that transfer to the coins as raised lines, missing design elements, or unusual surface textures. Some 1996 P quarters show evidence of over-polished dies, where Mint employees attempted to remove clash marks or other die damage, but ended up creating their own distinctive error characteristics in the process. The authentication and grading of 1996 P. Error quarters has become a specialized field within numismatics. Professional grading services like PGS and NGC have developed expertise in identifying and certifying the various error types found on these coins. The most dramatic examples, particularly those showing clear double die characteristics behind Washington's ear, have been authenticated and encapsulated in protective holders that preserve their condition while providing certified documentation of their error status. Market values for 1996 P. Washington quarters vary dramatically depending on the type and severity of errors present. While typical examples in average circulated condition trade for face value, error varieties command significant premiums. The most basic 1996 P quarters in high mint state condition can reach values up to $12, but specimens with authenticated errors, particularly the coveted ear doubling variety, have sold for substantially higher amounts at auction. The hunt for 1996 P error quarters has created a subculture within coin collecting where enthusiasts armed with magnifying glasses and high-power microscopes search through rolls of quarters looking for these elusive treasures. The thrill comes not just from the potential monetary value, but from the excitement of discovering a genuine minting error that escaped quality control nearly 3 decades ago. What makes the search for 1996 P error quarters so compelling is the knowledge that these coins are still out there, hiding in plain sight. Unlike ancient coins or precious metal issues that were never intended for circulation, these error quarters were mixed in with millions of normal coins and distributed through banks, businesses, and everyday commerce. That means every quarter you encounter from 1996 with a P mint mark could potentially be the discovery that changes everything. The emotional appeal of finding a 1996 P error quarter goes beyond mere monetary considerations. These coins represent a connection to a specific moment in American minting history when human error and mechanical imperfection combined to create numismatic art. Each double die, each off-center strike, each die crack tells the story of the massive industrial process required to keep America's commerce flowing smoothly. Professional authentication becomes crucial when dealing with potentially valuable 1996 P quarters. The difference between a common coin worth 25 cents and an error variety worth hundreds or thousands of dollars often comes down to microscopic details that require expert examination to verify. Grading services use specialized equipment and decades of expertise to distinguish genuine errors from post-mint damage or normal wear patterns. The collecting community surrounding 1996 P error quarters is passionate and knowledgeable, sharing discoveries through online forums, coin shows, and specialized publications. These collectors understand that patience and persistence are essential virtues in the search for error coins, as genuine examples remain relatively scarce despite the millions of quarters originally produced. Storage and preservation of discovered 1996 P error quarters requires careful attention to maintaining their condition. Even minor handling damage can significantly impact the value of an error coin, making proper storage and protective holders essential for serious collectors. The goal is to preserve not just the coin itself, but the evidence of the minting error that makes it special to the next time you encounter a 1996 P Washington quarter, don't just glance and move on. Take a moment to examine it carefully under good light, paying special attention to the area behind Washington's ear. Look for doubled lines, shadowed features, or any indication that the design elements appear with unusual clarity or duplication. Check for off-center strikes, die cracks, or other obvious signs of minting irregularities. That seemingly ordinary quarter from 1996 might be your ticket to joining the ranks of collectors who understand that genuine numismatic treasure often hides in the most unexpected places. The search requires patience, knowledge, and a bit of luck, but the potential rewards make every quarter worth examining. Remember, fortune favors the prepared mind, and now your mind is prepared to recognize the extraordinary hiding among the ordinary. Keep hunting, keep searching, and keep that magnifying glass ready, because you never know when a simple trip through your pocket change will reveal the discovery of a lifetime. This is X Coins Hub, where every coin has a story, and some stories are worth more than you ever imagined. Picture this scene. It's October 16th, 1859. The morning mist rises from the Potomac River as it flows past the sleepy town of Harper's Ferry, West Virginia. In the darkness before dawn, a group of 21 men, led by the fiery abolitionist John Brown, crosses the river with a plan so audacious it would shake the very foundations of America. Their target, the Federal Armory at Harper's Ferry, where they intended to seize weapons and launch a slave rebellion that would spread across the entire South. This wasn't just another raid. This was a moment that would ignite the fuse leading directly to the Civil War. John Brown believed he was an instrument of divine justice, chosen by God to end the evil of slavery through violence if necessary. His plan seemed simple enough: capture the armory, distribute weapons to enslaved people, and watch as freedom spread like wildfire across the South. But plans rarely survive first contact with reality, and by the morning of October 17th, Brown and his remaining followers found themselves trapped in a small brick building that would become known forever as John Brown's Fort. This is where our story connects to the quarter you might be holding right now. The 2016 America, the beautiful quarter featuring Harper's Ferry National Historical Park, doesn't just commemorate a location. It immortalizes that very building where John Brown made his final stand. The quarter's design captures the stark brick structure with its distinctive arched doorway and windows, the same building where Brown and his men faced overwhelming odds as federal troops, led by future Confederate General Robert E. Lee, surrounded them. But here's where numismatic treasure hunting becomes absolutely fascinating. While the United States Mint struck over 858 million of these quarters in 2016, making them appear common and unremarkable, within that massive production run lie specimens that possess characteristics so rare and dramatic that they transform ordinary quarters into collector gold mines. The minting process in 2016 was running at incredible speed across Philadelphia and Denver facilities, with massive presses striking thousands of quarters every hour. But when you're dealing with that kind of industrial volume, mechanical perfection becomes impossible to maintain. Dies wear down, striking chambers misalign, and metal blanks shift at the crucial moment of impact. These tiny imperfections create the errors that serious collectors prize above all else. Double die errors represent the holy grail for quarter collectors. These occur when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly between impressions, creating ghostly duplicate images in the metal. On 2016 Harper's Ferry quarters, this doubling can appear on John Brown's fort itself, making the historic building appear to have shadowy duplicate walls and windows. The most dramatic examples show doubling across multiple design elements, where Harper's Ferry and West Virginia exhibit clear shadow effects that make the text appear almost three-dimensional under magnification, that off-center strikes create equally dramatic errors, where the coin blank wasn't properly positioned during striking. These quarters show only a portion of John Brown's fort, with a distinctive crescent of unstruck metal on one side. The most extreme examples might show only half the building, creating quarters that look like they were struck by lightning rather than a mint press. Die cracks add another layer of collectible appeal. As the steel dies endure millions of strikes under enormous pressure, they develop hairline fractures that transfer to the coins as raised lines. On Harper's Ferry quarters, these cracks might appear as dramatic lines cutting across the fort itself or radiating outward like battle scars across the surrounding landscape. The grading process reveals the true treasure potential hidden within these quarters. Most 2016 Harper's Ferry quarters in average circulated condition trade for face value, but specimens that escaped circulation and retained their original mint luster tell a completely different story. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC examine every microscopic detail, looking for the pristine surfaces and sharp strikes that define higher grades. MS63 examples begin to command premiums above face value, while MS64 and MS65 specimens become increasingly scarce. When you reach MS66 or higher grades, especially combined with dramatic minting errors, you're entering territory where serious collectors compete with the intensity of Civil War reenactors fighting for authentic artifacts. The authentication process becomes crucial with potentially valuable quarters like these. Professional grading services not only verify the authenticity of errors, but also assign precise grades that determine market value. Their sealed holders protect these numismatic treasures while providing the certified documentation that serious collectors demand. But beyond the technical aspects of grading and errors lies the emotional appeal that drives collector passion. When you hold a 2016 Harper's Ferry quarter, especially one bearing dramatic minting errors, You're connecting with one of the most pivotal moments in American history. John Brown's raid didn't succeed in its immediate goals, but accomplished something perhaps even more significant. It forced America to confront the moral contradiction of slavery in a nation founded on principles of freedom and equality. That Brown's capture and subsequent execution made him a martyr for the abolitionist cause. His final words before being hanged became legend. "I am yet too young to understand that God is any respecter of persons. I believe that to have interfered as I have done in behalf of his despised poor was not wrong, but right." These words, spoken by a man who gave his life for the cause of freedom, resonate through history and give profound meaning to the quarters that commemorate his final stand. The irony isn't lost on serious collectors that some of the most valuable examples of these historically significant quarters are the ones that bear the scars of the minting process, just as John Brown's fort bears the scars of that desperate October battle. The double dies, off-center strikes, and die cracks that make certain quarters so valuable mirror the imperfections and struggles that make historical moments so memorable. The next time you encounter a 2016 quarter, don't just glance and move on. Hold it up to the light and examine John Brown's fort carefully. Look for doubling in the building's structure, search for shadow effects in the lettering. Check for off-center strikes that create dramatic partial images. That seemingly ordinary quarter might be your connection to one of the most important moments in American history, and potentially your ticket to joining the ranks of collectors who understand that true numismatic treasure often hides in the most unexpected places. Remember, John Brown believed in fighting for what was right, regardless of the odds against him. As collectors, we fight those same odds every time we search through pocket change, looking for the extraordinary hiding among the ordinary. Keep hunting, keep examining, and keep that magnifying glass ready, because you never know when history, heroism, and minting errors will combine to create your next great discovery. This is Xcoins Hub, where every coin tells a story, and some stories are worth fighting for.